G'day, my name's George. On this 11th day of May 2026, I'm here to tell you another message of hope. Do you like what I'm wearing? Do I look like Grogu from the Mandalorian show? Alright, well, I was pulling up into the curb at one of the church Bible study nights. As you can see, you can't see, but I have food in my hand as usual. And something caught me mid-step. Now, I don't know when this became something I just do. Right? To the exact point, I can't remember. Nobody asked me to, but I never sat down and decided this was the value I was going to adopt. And yet, there I am, every week showing up at someone's place with something to eat. My parents did that too, you see. Every single time we visited someone, family, friends, neighbours, didn't matter. They walked through the door with food in hand. No speech about it, no explanation. Just, that's what you did when you enter someone's home. Maybe it's a cultural thing they grew up with, maybe. I mean, I was a kid and I couldn't understand why we spent money on other people when I was begging to have junk food in my hands on a daily basis, which had never happened. But I'm doing it now. Thank the Lord. And decades later, I was doing it. Still I'm doing it. And I'm doing it without thinking, without being told. Now, they handed me a habit, my parents, that I've been carrying ever since. And I never once sat through a lecture about generosity to receive it. My wife is pretty good at that too, mind you. And that is what faithful investment looks like. It's not always going to be a speech, but sometimes it's the consistent presence and something warm to share, repeated over 20 years and the child doesn't even notice they've picked it up. Now, there is a pattern in the media I want to address here. Yes, in the media. Every other week or so, there seems to be another piece about someone who grew up in a Christian home and walked away. Another public figure, perhaps. Movie star, pop star, you name it, right? Another celebrity who claims, I was raised in the church, but I believe differently now. And it gets coverage, right? Significant coverage I'm talking about. Just because it generates clicks. Because a lot of people seem to find that old narrative very satisfying, right? I used to be a believer. I'm no longer. I think it's hypocritical. And to be blunt, I'm genuinely tired of it too. Not because those stories aren't real, right? I think they are, but they're not the whole story. The part that gets left out, the quiet, unglamorous stories of children who actually honour what they were given. Those don't seem to rate at all. Not clickbait, right? So let me tell you about Margaret. Happy story. She is 23 years old from Milne Bay in Papua New Guinea, not far from Australia. Now, her father is a senior pastor at a CRC church. Her mother works alongside him doing church work. That's what ladies do, I guess. I read about her recently in a Papua New Guinea newspaper. She had just graduated from the University of Papua New Guinea School of Business and Public Policy. Hey, she didn't just graduate. She received the Dean's Award and the Top Student Award in Human Resource Management. 2 awards. At her graduation, she said this about her siblings, watching from the audience. When they look at what she achieved, they know Margaret didn't do it alone. She definitely did it with the help of God. In fact, I remember seeing the headline. She said something along the line, with God, anything is possible. Something along that. I'm paraphrasing. So, a 23-year-old woman standing in a graduation hall giving the credit away. Wow, that's a good story. So she is now working in a graduate development program at a financial institution. Again, it's a pastor's daughter faithfully stewarding what she was given. I don't think the media will run that story on the front page on other news outlets, like your CNN, Herald Sun, things like that. But I'm prepared to tell you on this channel about her story. And of course, if this is connecting with you, I hope it does, stay with me. There's a video coming after this one, the next day, I think you'll want to see. Now, do me a favor, please subscribe. I'm aiming to get 50 subscribers by the end of this week. So there's 6 days to go. I'm about 43 subscribers. 7 more to help me achieve my goal. You'll be kind enough to do it, right? And please give it a thumbs up and share the video far and wide. All right, Bible verse time. Here we go. And here's what Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6 says. Train up a child in a way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. The phrase I want you to hear is, even when he is old. Not by their 16th birthday, not by the time they finish school. After all, King Solomon is describing a long game. It's a patient, consistent, unglamorous investment that the investor often does not live to see the full return on. Makes sense? Which means if you are in the thick of teenage years right now, what you cannot yet see is not evidence that what you're doing isn't working. Now, I know what those years feel like from the inside. You see, my wife and I raised our kids through seasons where I generally didn't know how it was going to resolve. Because you pour in everything you have, you hold the boundaries they resent, and boy, do they resent it as teenagers. But you stay consistent when consistent is the last thing you feel like being, because there's a lot of hard work. I mean, there were days I asked God, is this working? Is this landing at the right place? Is any of this getting through? I'm just being human, right? Well, my son gets invited for sleepovers. I mean, yeah. Schoolmates, church friends, you name it. And I have to be honest, some of those nights I just lie there slightly uncomfortable, wondering about the crowd he's with, hoping that his judgment is as good as I believe it is. Well, I had to make peace with the fact that at some point you just trust God and you trust your child and you let go of the rope a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, if it were my daughter, sounds hypocritical, but if it was my daughter asking the same thing, I would emphatically say no. And I think my wife will agree with me on that one too. The answers comes much faster and still requires prayer, of course, when you say the no. Now, which is an honesty about parenting that doesn't make it into many sermons. You navigate it imperfectly, right? I'm at a busy corner here, guys. You pray about it a lot and you just keep going. That's parenthood. Today, they've turned out to be good kids. Thank the Lord. Now, I don't say that boastfully. I say it gratefully. Because there were seasons I wasn't sure. I've got a propeller plane up ahead. Miles ahead. It's pretty noisy, isn't it? Okay, well, I want to say something here because stewardship isn't only about what you pour into your children. Remember, this channel, right? Some days I sit down to record and I genuinely don't know I'm going to say it because the topic isn't always clear to me. The words aren't there. But I have a brief moment of wondering why I keep doing this, right? Then I remember, like anything in life, that this is His kingdom, not mine. I'm not here to perform. It's not for me. I'm here to be faithful to what He's asked me to do. So I ask God for help. And I run with what He gives me, and He does the rest every time. This is His kingdom. And that is the stewardship of a calling. Showing up when you're not sure. Trusting that if He put it in front of you, He will equip you to carry it through. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. Which is exactly what Margaret's parents did, right? Maybe you hear this and think, oh, I love to raise children like that, but I'm not in ministry, George. I don't have that kind of background. I barely have enough to get through the week even, right? I'm so busy. Well, let me tell you, Margaret's parents are a pastor and a church worker in Milne Bay, Papua New Guinea, as I said before. This was not a large income story. This was a faithful presence story. And what they gave her was not primarily financial. No. Have a read. It was a habit of showing up, of serving people, of putting God first. Wasn't a slogan, but as a visible daily practice, She watched for 23 years until it became her own on that day. I'm telling you now, you don't need more money to do that. You need more consistency. Right? So train up a child in the way he should go. The word implies repetition. So you practice hundreds of ordinary moments, not one defining speech. Doesn't always have to be glamorous. Now, my parents never sat me down and explained the theology of generosity. They just always brought something to eat, and I saw it. And that was the curriculum. So, yes, the media will keep running stories. It runs. Clicks will keep going to the celebrity who walked away from their faith. So be it. You can't change it. And every week, quietly. In graduation halls, workplaces, and churches across the world, the Margaret Stanleys keep showing up. Well done. Children who would honor God, who credit their parents, and who give the glory away. Yes, that is what faithful stewardship of your time. Your parenting, your calling, and your presence that will actually produce the good fruits. Okay, maybe not always, maybe it's not automatic, but it's at least consistency over the long game. And it's more often than you think. As I said, my parents bought food. Margaret's parents brought 23 years of faithful investment. And on graduation day in Port Moresby, hey, we saw a 23-year-old woman stood up and gave the credit away. My friends, what habit are you handing to the people watching you? That's all for today. I'm going to keep on walking. The sun's out. Very little clouds, almost here, I'll show you. I can't really show you here, but yeah. Blue skies. Going to get some more vitamin D. I'll see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Take it easy, guys. Cheers. Bye.